Hi, fourth graders. It's Miss Kovarik. I'm actually looking a little crazy right now because I was about to go to bed and then I realized that the video I made was a little bit glitchy. So I'm going to record it for you guys so you have a nice video for you to use tomorrow in your science lesson. So today's Tuesday. We're on science lesson 10 and we're going to be talking about food chains to kind of extend our learning from yesterday's lesson on an ecosystem. And remember, an ecosystem is everything in an environment. Every living thing and every non-living thing in a certain place that an animal lives. So these food chains deal specifically with the things that animals are eating. And it shows the flow of energy. So in this food chain right here, these arrows are showing where the energy is going. So for example, this plant, there's an arrow towards the snail. That means that the energy from the plant is being moved to the snail. The snail to the crab, it's eating the snail, the crab eats the snail, and it takes that energy and uses it to do whatever it needs to do in the day. So the arrow is showing how energy is moving. Energy moved from the plant to the snail, to the crab, to the fish. So just to review, producers are any organism that makes its own food. And we know that the only type of organism that can make its own food is a plant. And plants make their own food through photosynthesis. So I always taught my students to think that P producers for P plants. So just kind of something to help you remember that producers are always plants. Next one is consumers. Consume means to eat something. So consumers are organisms that eat plants or other animals. And we learned about how there's different words for the types of foods that these animals eat. If an animal only eats other animals, we call it a carnivore. If it only eats plants, we call it an herbivore. And if it eats both plants and animals, we call it an omnivore. So a consumer is any of those things. It eats plants, it eats animals, it consumes another organism. Now, decomposers, I always taught my students D for decomposers, D for dead. So decomposers feed on dead or dying, decaying things in the earth. So for example, this is a type of fungus. This is a mushroom, and this is some type of really small bacteria. Worms are another example of decomposers. They feed on the soil, which is made up of dead plants, dead leaves, stuff like that. And decomposers don't eat things that are alive. They eat things that are dying. But remember, energy is never lost. So even though the plants might be dead, the animal might be dead, they're still getting energy and nutrients from it. Couple more words. A predator is an animal that hunts another animal, while the prey is the animal that is hunted. So predator would be the snake, prey would be the mouse. All right, food chain. So food chain is how energy is passed through an ecosystem. It's typically focused on one habitat. So this would be like just a normal, our habitat, a forest habitat. We start with the producer always. And we know that the producers get their energy from the sun because that's how they make photosynthesis. That's how they make their own food. So the sun is giving the grass energy to grow and live. The grasshopper eats that grass and takes that energy. The mouse is eating the grasshopper, taking the energy from the grasshopper. Same with the snake and the mouse, eating the mouse, and then eventually the hawk eats the snake. So again, that arrow is showing how the energy is moving from one organism to another. Here's another example, but they're actually labeled in this one. So this shows we start with the producer, the rest are consumers because they are eating another organism. Here's another example. We're still starting with the producer. This would be an ocean example. And the energy is flowing from the producer to each of the consumers until you get to that top consumer, which in this one would be the shark. All right. So on your assignment, where am I going? Here. The first thing you're going to do is watch this video, which you're doing right now. Then you're going to watch this vocabulary video. So you can click that link and make sure that you are logged in. So there should be a login button up here. It's not coming up on mine because I'm already logged in. And just log in with Google. You should have a school account. Then we're going to try something different today. Hopefully it works out. Instead of doing a normal form sheet, I'm going to have you guys do a slideshow. Now my students have done this before, especially my guided reading students. It's super easy. The directions are drag the pictures in order to create a food chain. So I gave you a little hint. Remember that arrow means flow of energy. You're going to put the pictures in the correct order. Always begin with the producer. There's another hint. So we're always going to start with the producer because they are the ones that start that food chain. They get the energy from the sun to produce their own food. They don't have to eat another organism. So you're going to drag these pictures to whatever spot you think they belong in this food chain. Okay, I know they don't fit perfectly in that box, but that's okay. So we've got, this is a eagle, we've got a squirrel, and then we've got some berries. So you're going to put those in the correct order. We've got another example here. We've got a shark, a clownfish, and some algae. You're going to put them in the correct order. And then we've got, this is some kind of little rodent, like a mouse or something in the desert, a cactus, and we've got a snake. So drag them into whichever order you think they belong. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to sort all of these images into these three categories. So that's when you're going to want to refer back to this video to remind yourself what is a producer, what is a consumer, and what is a decomposer. So you're just going to drag the pictures wherever they go. So we've got, I'll go through these real quick. We've got a tomato plant. We've got the baby, a lion, a tree. This is a type of fungus, a mushroom, a dog, a worm, and then this is a type of house plant, a leafy house plant. So just drag each picture into the category that you think it belongs. Ooh. All right. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you have a great Tuesday, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow for your assignments. Bye, Adams.